Hello students, I wanted to walk you through all the steps you need to know for your final project, final paper and presentation for class. So if you click on modules, you'll see that there's a module open, bringing it all together, final paper and presentations. I suggest you look through all of these materials. I'll go through them all with you as well, so you can see all the information and know everything you need to know in order to be successful. Please note that as listed in the syllabus, the final paper is 100 points. The final presentation is 30 points. This is a significant amount of points for your class. If you are unhappy with your grade as it looks currently, if you've missed a few assignments along the way, this is a perfect opportunity to really knock it out of the park and do a bang-up job so that you can get all 130 of those points and then end the semester in a good standing. So please, please, please give this paper and presentation the attention that it deserves as your kind of culminating assignment for Leadership 211. So let's go over the assignment overview. This is really the due date places. So first I want you to, of course, review the final assignment details and watch this screen capture. Sign up for your presentation time. There's a link for that in the module. If you do not sign up for a day or time, I will pick for you. So if you have a preference, go ahead and sign up. I know a couple people have told me that they have preferences for a certain date. You need to go ahead and click on that link, the Google Doc, and put your name in on the day that you want to present. We will present in the order in which you list your names there. There's no face-to-face class on the 11th, no face-to-face class on the 13th. Instead, you should be working on your paper, your presentations, and your final Hoot assignments. Your final Hoot assignments are to return to the discussion board where you posted yours and reply to 2 of your peers with targeted feedback mentioning and talking about their specific assignment, and also to make sure that you upload the link to the assignment you want the HEROES students to look at, and there will be a Google Doc for that. There is class on the 18th. Presentations are due in the discussion board before class begins on the day you present. If you present on the first day, you have to have your presentation in on that day. If you present on the last day, you have to have your presentation in on that day. You can always turn them in early, but you can't turn them in late. Attendance for all students is expected for all sessions. I know that things happen, but I do really expect you to be in class, and that has been listed on the course schedule since the beginning of the semester. Your final paper is due no later than 11:59 p.m. on Sunday the 7th. No late papers will be accepted. Next item in the module is your final paper and presentation details. I'm going to go ahead and open this up on another window just so we can look at the big screen. So again, you have a 5-page paper, 100 points, and a 5 to 7 minute in-class presentation, 30 points. And this is really to demonstrate that you have understanding the basic leadership components that we've discussed in class. So don't confuse traits and skills and strengths. Those are different approaches to leadership. This should really demonstrate that you understand those are different approaches to leadership. Please note that your college level writing skills will also impact your grade. Please use Grammarly or some other spelling grammar check program before you submit. Please review your work before you submit. You'll see that listed on the rubric that I do expect you to have reviewed your work. Also, this is a paper, not paragraph by paragraph. This should have an introduction, a conclusion, transitions, paragraph breaks, not one long paper without paragraphs, etc. What's in your paper? You have 4 required elements, and some of them have different components to them, so please pay attention to that. 1 bullet, 2 bullets, 3 bullets, 4 bullets. First, I want you to and you don't have to do them in order in your paper this way. You can absolutely follow this order. Some people flip it and do the biggest takeaway first. It's completely up to you. As long as these 4 sections are clearly in your paper, don't make it hard for me to read it and find your answers. If I have to search for your biggest takeaway, that's not a good thing because I've got a lot of papers to grade. If I have to search for your leadership lessons outside of class, not a good thing. Make it very clear as to what you're talking about. So let's talk about these core lessons though. This is important. Your core lessons learned about leadership. This is not necessarily core lessons I've learned from Northhouse, core lessons I learned from Strengths Finders, core lessons I learned from Hoot. These are core lessons I've learned about leadership. So for example, one could be the importance of followers. That's a core lesson, a big picture thing. And you can talk about the importance of followers through multiple different resources that we've used in class. So in this section, and you can read all the details here, I'm expecting in your 3 core lessons that you are referencing all 4 of the course materials from class. I need to fix this, of course, because we didn't read these books this year. Hoot. So somewhere in your discussion of the 3 core lessons, you should reference Northouse chapters 1 through 6. Somewhere in your discussion of 3 core lessons, you should reference Clifton Strengths. Somewhere in the 3 core lessons, you should reference Hoot. And somewhere in your core 3 lessons, you should reference Leadership for a Better World. So it's very possible that one of your core lessons only identifies or lines up with the Strengths Finder. That's fine. That just means over the course of the other 2 core lessons, you have to mention the other 3 components of class. So when I'm reading this section specifically, I'm going to be looking, did you mention Northouse? Did you mention Clifton Strengths? Did you mention Hoot? And did you mention Leadership for a Better World? The second component, again, doesn't have to go in order, is how has your view of leadership changed, evolved, refined, deepened throughout the semester? What have been some of your biggest leadership lessons this semester based on your experiences outside of class? Please note that outside of class, this is not related to being in my class. This is something that you've learned because you've been doing something in your sorority or your organization. This is because of the leadership experiences we've had in class. You now think differently about your work experiences. Because of the leadership lessons we've learned in class, you now think differently or have experienced things or have thought about your relationships with your roommates differently. Whatever the case may be, something outside. What's your biggest lesson outside of class? Some of your biggest lessons. And then what is your biggest takeaway from the course? So could be based on some of these. Importance of followers, for example, could be a big takeaway, and then your core lessons might be something else. It's completely up to you. What matters to you? So again, just to recap, 3 core lessons about leadership. In those 3 core lessons, there has to be some reference to these 4, not for each lesson, but over the whole section. How's your view of leadership changed? What are some of your biggest leadership lessons outside of class? And what is your biggest takeaway? Now, that's your paper. What you're going to be presenting in class is any 2 elements of this. So it could be 1 core lesson and how your view of leadership has changed. It could be some of your biggest leadership lessons outside of class and your biggest takeaway. Please note, it's a 5 to 7 minute presentation with Adobe Express, Canva, or some other multimedia format. And again, you have to have 2 or more of the above elements in your presentation. So I say here, just to kind of help you, since you're presenting before your paper's due, you could think of this as like an opportunity to clarify your thoughts, to kind of figure out what you're going with. Kind of like that consultation for your leadership profile and growth plan where you came in with 2 ideas and we talked about them, but this is going to be an actual presentation of the 2 things you'd like to share with the class from these required elements up above. So just to go back and recap, other things in this module, you'll see a Q&A. Over the years, I've received lots of good questions about the final paper and presentation, and so those are represented here. Please read this document before you send me a question, especially knowing that I'm not available very easily next week. Please read the Q&A document first. And if your question is not there, of course, absolutely, let me know what it is, and I'll be happy to help you. Click here for the Google Doc to sign up for your presentation. Here's where you upload your presentation. Please note it does not have a due date assigned to it because there's 3 days. It's up to you to remember which day your presentation is and which day your assignment is due. And then the final paper there. So if you have any questions about any of this final paper and presentations, look at the document first, review the assignments, listen to my screen capture, maybe listen to it again, and then let me know, of course, if you have anything that is not addressed in those pieces that you need me to address. Thanks, and I look forward to seeing your final presentations.